Hello, friends. All right, so I am checking in right now. So we are 18 hours into the 24-hour sprints. So let me give you an update of what I've read. I haven't read a ton that I can hold up, but I have read about 53% or I've gotten to about 53% of Priory of the Orange Tree, and I started reading How to Sell a Haunted House. Okay, so with this, I didn't get very far in this because it's grief horror. I got to page 34 in How to Sell a Haunted House. So here is what I'm going to tell you about this particular book. I'm not going to finish this on sprints. This is a book that I'm going to have to read on my own. This is not a book that I'm really comfortable with reading on sprints because this subject matter is grief, and our main character, her parents have both died unexpectedly, which that's in the synopsis. Nothing that I tell you right now is going to be outside of the synopsis, so no spoilers. So our main character finds out that her parents have unexpectedly died, and she has to go back to her hometown to help her brother clean out their house, and in doing so, they figure out that the house is haunted. That's basically what happens. As someone who's lost a parent, this is a little rough to read. I didn't know the synopsis of How to Sell a Haunted House before purchasing the pre-order. I just purchased the pre-order because I love Grady Hendrix, and at this point he's an auto-buy author for me. So anything that he writes, I'm going to buy, and I plan on buying his backlist as well. So I want people to go into this understanding that it is horror, but it is grief horror, and grief horror can be a different animal. I did tear up in the first few chapters. I think I'm on chapter 4, and chapter 2 I was already kind of feeling a lot of things and was like, okay, well, I'll read a little bit more. And then I got to the middle of chapter 4 and I was like, this is not so. Just go into this book. If you don't want to read the synopsis, that's okay, but just go into this book knowing that this is grief horror, and grief horror is much different than what we think of as horror, gory horror. So I want to kind of give that disclaimer. So I am going to be finishing this book. I will probably have it done in about a week, maybe less than that. It's going to depend really, because I don't take physical books to work with me. But we'll see how long this takes me. It's rough to read. So that could be just because it is grief horror, and it's centered around the loss of a parent, or in this case, both of her parents. But just know that going in. Yeah, I personally enjoy grief horror, especially if it's a grief that I can relate to, because it can be healing to read grief horror sometimes. So I'm not upset that I'm reading this. It's just definitely a book that I'm not going to be finishing on sprints. I will be trying to finish up the section of Priory that I'm on, and then I also started, I'll just hold this up, it's on my Kindle, Twisted Love by Anna Wong on my Kindle. I did at one point try reading this book, and I got to chapter 5, I think, because that's where it started when I pulled it up on my Kindle. I got to chapter 5 and then stopped reading it. I can't remember if I stopped because I wasn't interested or what. It's fine. I know that there are a few people that I know in the book community that have read this whole series, and I really just want to read the series from the beginning. Even though I think that these books are standalones, technically, I want to read the series in the order that they were published. But I've heard that the first book is not as good as the rest of, the first few books are not as good as the rest of the series. So I'm hanging on, you know what I'm saying? And then I also at some point want to pick back up the Sophie Lark books. I read the first one and then half of the second one. I do have them as physical copies, so that's probably how I will read at least the first 4, since they're illustrated. And yeah, that's really it. So as far as what I've read so far, like I haven't finished any books, but it wasn't really my goal in these 24-hour sprints to finish any. It was just my goal to read something. So I feel like I've made a good dent in Priory considering how long that book is. I think I still have like 6 or 8 hours left of the audio, and then yeah, and then I dabble a little bit in How to Sell a Haunted House, which I will not be continuing on sprints, and also Twisted Love. So I also have managed to get next week completely planned out, and I have some content planned for my second channel, which is a singing channel. It is called Singing Winiva. So if you want to subscribe to that, feel free. There's only one like YouTube short on there. There's no actually full-length videos, so those are hopefully, if everything works out, coming this next week. So I already have everything planned. I just have to film stuff. So that's all I have. We are still sprinting. So this is what we're doing currently. We are on a 1-hour timer, and obviously I'm here kind of just by myself at the moment, but I think some people are going to be popping in. This anime timer is by the same people that make the other Pomodoro timer that I usually use, which is this one. So Gridfeedy, they make this timer and then also this one. And this one popped up when I opened up the other one today and was like, do you want an anime timer? So I think this is for like Pomodoro method of like work, and then you can watch an anime. I think that's what it is, because it says work and watch, and I can't change that. Like I can't alter it, but I just thought that it was so cute. So that's what we're doing. We are sprinting. If I have another when I have another update, either when I have another update, like other people are back on the sprints, or when the sprints are over, I will update everyone again about what I read, what I got accomplished for these 24 hours. There wasn't a lot going on, so like I was going to update more often, but I just don't feel like there was really anything to update. Yeah, and I didn't record everybody on the sprints, but when or if people show back up, I might record a little tiny bit just to show like who was here. But I did post a picture when Rainy, Amy, Chrissy, and Kelsey were all on Instagram. So if you want to check that out, it should still be on my stories theoretically. I don't know if it would still be on there or not, but that's all I got. So I will check back in a little bit later. Hello. So that wraps up 24-hour sprints. So I wanted to come in and just talk a little bit about what I read, what I didn't read, all that. So I didn't end up finishing any books at all, since the book that I plan on finishing, that I can't find at the moment, the book I plan on finishing, oh, here it is, during the sprints, I figured out was just there's too much grief in it, and I didn't feel like reading that on sprints. So the book that I plan on reading from start to finish was How to Sell a Haunted House. I am still working on it. However, it's not going to be something that I read on camera. I am going to include it, however, in a weekly vlog, so you'll get to see my thoughts, and then of course it will be in my wrap-up vlog, since I'm doing wrap-ups this year vlog style. So this was the first book. I did read a big chunk of Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm doing that through audio, but I do have a physical copy. It's just not in my possession at the moment. So I did get a big chunk of that read. I only have around 4 hours left of that audio. And then I did start Twisted Love, which is on KU, but I have kind of put that book on hold because I found the audio for that. So I'm going to be listening to it with the audio, but I need to finish Priory of the Orange Tree first. And then Kelsey was reading one of the ACOTAR books. The last one, I think. Silver Flames, a court of Silver Flames, something like that. And she was really into that. So we didn't end up starting our buddy read. We're starting that here very soon in the next day or two, but we didn't end up starting it on the sprints like we planned. So that's what we did. thank you to everyone that hung out with me, whether that was in the comments or on camera. We do 24-hour sprints every month, and I plan for 2023 to actually vlog every month. This one was kind of a trial, so I didn't do as many updates as I probably wanted to or should have, but there's always next month. So if you are wanting to participate in 24-hour sprints, whether that's on camera or just in the comments to hang out, I always post when the next one will be. Usually I try to post it a week in advance, but I do try to post through like I always post it on Instagram, and I will try to remember for February to post the February announcement also on YouTube on the community tab. So yeah, so if you want to participate, if you're just gonna hang out in the comments, you know, come one, come all. They're a fun time. And if you are someone who's watching this and you think that you would want to participate like on camera, just message me you can DM me on Instagram. I try not to have more than 10 people participating just because I can only have 10 people on screen at once, and then I also try to stretch everyone out, if that makes sense. So that's the plan. Otherwise, that's really all I have for this 24-hour sprints vlog. Again, thank you to everyone that participated, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.